a very young 17-year-old Hasidic Jew came by and gave me the Hebrew Bible in Hebrew. And, Munger sounds like it could be a German Jewish name, and it means peddler in both German and English. So it wasn't totally crazy for a Hasidic Jew to think that Munger could read the Hebrew Bible in Hebrew, but of course I couldn't. And I got to talking with him, and one thing led to another, and I sort of befriended Avi and watched him grow up. And Avi never went to college. He has a mild attention deficit disorder, but a ferociously high IQ. And he was worried about it. And I said, Avi, don't worry about it. You don't need any college. You're going to succeed mightily. Well, Avi is now 32 and has 4 children and a hugely successful business. And I was right. He didn't need college. And Avi had a client, his main client in his apartment management business, and he was unhappy. And I think rightly so. And so I said to him one day, because I'd gotten to like and trust Avi, I said, why don't you just get rid of that client you got, buy a bunch of apartments for me? And the first ones we saw were the ones I bought out here. And that's how it happened. But we've had a fair amount of fun, Avi and his partner, Ruben and I. And it's kind of creative to buy old apartments and fix them up. And of course, we have a philosophy that there is no income unless the place is properly cared for. And the apartment management field is full of people who just milk the properties and do the very minimum. And that's a stupid mistake if you're a long-term investor. And Avi and I share a belief that all these things should be immediately improved. And I think in the first year or something like that, we spent $600,000 on trees on just 4 projects. I know how much better it's going to work for me, so I don't deserve much credit because it's very much in my interest financially to plant all those trees. Now, I would probably plant them anyway, but I can't prove that. That's how we came out here. And of course, I like the mountains, and I like the trees, and I like the people, and I like these good colleges. And I will admit, I didn't start out with the idea I'd pick Redlands out of the world. It's just where this apartment project that caught my attention was. But once I was here, I did not know there was an Esri company. I have made my way in life with a pencil and a pen, a calculating machine, and a compound interest table, and I haven't looked at a calculus question since I was 19 years old. So I'm totally a creature of old-fashioned horse sense and a little arithmetic. And so I don't know about software companies like Esri. If I'd known, I would have paid more for the project. It's a huge blessing to go into community. There's a big employer that keeps hiring and so forth. And Avi is so smart. I didn't suggest that he start giving. There are all kinds of rules in apartment house operators about guarantees of leases and down payments and what have you. And not every new employee of Esri qualifies. And Avi just took one look at the situation and waives all those requirements for anybody that wants to work at Esri. A confluence of 2 factors is working in the right direction. I happen to think I share Jack's interest in design and architecture, which is an absolute accident. My uncle was a graduate of the Harvard School of Architecture, and I am a graduate of the Harvard Law School. And I have done a fair amount of house building for myself and building projects of various kinds in my long life. And so it's kind of a hobby with me to do what Jack does sort of professionally. And so, of course, I see this beautiful campus and this very successful company. And I'm also a total nut on the subject that the best way to get what you want in life is to deserve what you want. And, of course, if you apply that to business, that means you really take care of the customers. And it's perfectly obvious that what's happened to Esri would not have happened if it weren't terribly good at taking care of the customers. And of course, that's, again, I don't deserve any credit for doing it. I know I make more money taking care of the customers than I would if I were more short-term operating. And so I don't want to masquerade as a better fellow than I am, because since it works so well, I don't think it'd be nice if I like Mother Teresa and do something I didn't like doing, because I'm a noble soul. But my life is organized so that just time after time, what works for my pocketbook works for every moral teaching that I've been taught. And anybody in such a position is very lucky. And you people who work for a company like Esri are hugely lucky too, because there are a lot of employers that are defective. Well, we have a very peculiar way of looking at things. We want to buy something that's intrinsically a very good business, meaning that an idiot could run it and it would do all right. And then we want that business, which an idiot could run successfully, to have a wonderful person in it running it. And if we have a wonderful business with a wonderful person running it, that really turns us on, and it works very well. And now we do make exceptions, but not many. And it's a pretty simple philosophy. Warren sometimes says you have to choose good person or good business. You know what he says? This is not politically correct. He says good business. He wants something that has such a tremendous strength. I had a friend when I would practice law, and he said, if it won't stand a little mismanagement, it's not much of a business. And we like businesses that stand a lot of mismanagement but don't get it. So that's our formula. And we can't make it work perfectly, but it certainly worked better than most people's. And we would check some wonderful businesses with some wonderful people where it's just too tough. And I took on once, I've been so lucky in life that I took on once a job of being chairman of a nonprofit hospital because it was a losing hand. Too many competitors, too weak a position. It had a lot of terrible defects. And I said, this is good for me. I want to expose myself to the disappointments of the real world. And I want to tell you, it was 40 years of mixed agony and pleasure. And the agony never went away. If the business is tough enough, it has a way of staying tough. As Warren says, that when a business with a reputation for being tough and a manager with an opportunity for being brilliant get together, he says, it's the reputation of the business that remains. It's really hard to catch a hold in a business or a person. Lots of luck if you're disappointed in one of your children. Again, what really works in life is win-win, and that requires some sensitivity to the other fellow's way of thinking and his needs too. But win-win is the only formula that really will work on and on and on. And when it really starts working, when two people trust each other, take an operating theater at the Mayo Clinic. The whole damn group trust one another. There's not a lot of lawyers they just know what to do and when to do it and who to call on for what help, and everybody does what they're supposed to and so on. So we're trying to get these win-win relations, and of course I see it all the time. Costco has this reputation. I'm a director of Costco, and Costco has this reputation of being a fairly tough buyer. I don't regard them as that tough. There are a lot of people who are rich as small suppliers of Costco, but Costco is into win-win, and that's what really works. And so on and so on and so on. Is the future going to be as easy for the young male born in 2021? I don't think so. I think it's going to be harder. I think you can almost see that coming. And some of it was accidental. We got this terrible hydrogen bomb, and it's given us 60-some years of peace. I mean, major peace. We have little wars. And my father was scarcely out of one war before his son was going off at another. And so, no, I think it will be tougher in the future. And I think I've been continuously invested in American enterprise for 70 years, and I was a pretty good 70 years. I think the averages are up something like 40 times in my adult life. There never was such a period before. And, well, in real inflation-adjusted time, of course, it's not 40 times. It's way less because maybe 2 or 3% of that per annum is inflation. But what are the chances, let's assume the real return was 7 or 8%. What are the chances that the person born today is going to have 7 or 8% growth and no big wars or troubles for 70 years? I'd say they're almost zero. Now, I don't think that's any reason to despair. After all, why should you despair in a world? If we have a game you can't win anyway, we're all going to die. And if you can stand that, you can stand a little depression.